According to Metrigy, 75% of businesses, customer experience leaders, as well as IT leaders say having integrated user interfaces for call center and contact center and internal collaboration are must-haves in their business. Zoom is doing just that with their contact center solution. It is an omni-channel solution. What does that mean? It means you can do more than just calls. You can do video, you can do text, you can do file sharing, screen sharing. Anyway, for the user, the customer, even the end agent to be more empowered to solve problems faster. What if I told you that now you can integrate Zoom's contact center with some of the most powerful CRM solutions in the world? Today, I'm going to show you how Zoom Contact Center can fully integrate with Microsoft's Dynamics 365 CRM solution. And in order to help me do that, I've invited a special guest. So let's get started. Well, again, I love having guests on my show because one of the main reasons I have guests on my show, because I usually get guests that are way smarter than me and know a lot more about stuff than I do. So keeping with tradition, I've invited Justin to the show. Justin, introduce yourself and tell us why you're here.
Yeah, Patrick, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Justin Steinberg. I'm part of our solution engineering organization, and specifically I support Zoom Contact Center and Zoom Virtual Agent, and with an interest in our integration. So happy to join today, and we're going to talk about our latest integration for Zoom Contact Center, which is our Microsoft Dynamics 365 integration.
I've done a few of these with other guests as well. We did a Zendesk one, we've done a Salesforce one, and two premier players in the CRM field. But certainly if you're a Microsoft shop, and a lot of our customers are, they might be leveraging Dynamics 365. So what benefit are they going to see by integrating Zoom Contact Center and Dynamics 365?
Yeah, so we do embed our primary agent interface into our Zoom application, the same application that we're using right now. If you're a contact center agent, you can use this application to take your calls. But many customers also have an important CRM like Microsoft Dynamics. And so for those agents, they may want to be fully focused on their CRM, maybe all of their tickets and cases and records and all that important information that they're dealing with on a call by call basis is inside the CRM. And so for those environments, it makes sense to have the contact center also be part of that CRM. So that's really the main use case for this integration, are for those customers where agents are really staring at their CRM all day. And so it makes a lot of sense to have the ability to answer calls, to screen pop, to know who the caller is, and to also have the call information and call logging be part of that CRM record. So that's really the main primary problem that we're trying to solve here with this integration. And let me go ahead and share some information that we have here about the integration. The main features that this integration offers, really, as if anybody has saw the previous videos for Zendesk or ServiceNow or Salesforce, it's very similar. We have the fully embedded experience where the agent is really, they're sitting in the CRM, they're taking their calls, they're making themselves ready, they're not ready. The only software that agent has that needs to have to take the call is that CRM with the Zoom Contact Center embedded. And also logging, as I mentioned, is really important. So we have the ability to log calls to the activity records in Dynamics. We can look for contacts and leads when they call in based on that caller ID phone number. And this integration actually has some new features that our previous integrations didn't have. And that's around the ability to do advanced IVR screen pop that you see there on the right-hand side. So now we have the ability fully out of the box for a caller to dial in, enter a case number in the Zoom Contact Center IVR, and we can take them right to that case. So when the agent answers the call, they know exactly which case the person is calling in about. So happy to go through and walk through some of these new capabilities.
And this is great because I think we've preached on this channel before, the ability for Zoom to increase application affinity, right? The ability for Zoom to create this context where a user, when they are doing their day-to-day information worker job or a knowledge worker job or even contact center job, is to stay in one app the whole time. So you don't have to keep switching between different platforms, which is increasing productivity. So this is I imagine this is one of the reasons why we developed this as well. Well, Justin, I love the idea of it. And I think a lot of our users probably would love to be able to see what it looks like from the user experience side. So I'm going to put you on the spot. Is there any way you can do maybe a demo of this today?
Yeah, let's jump right into it. So yep, we will go through here. This integration is our latest integration for our Zoom Contact Center CRM integrations. It does have some new features, as I mentioned before. I'll call those out. And I do think that we'll see a lot of these new capabilities also come into the integrations that we released in the past, like Zendesk, Salesforce, and ServiceNow. But here we are logged into Microsoft Dynamics as an agent here. And, agents have their contacts that call in. They have different objects like cases and things like that. On the right-hand side is where we have the Zoom Contact Center integration. So I'm not signed in yet, but in the browser here, I have previously logged into Zoom. So Zoom knows who I am. So it's really simple, just a simple login here, and it'll automatically take us into the login screen. And here we are into the Zoom Contact Center integration there on the right. Now, we do have the ability to, take up a little bit less screen space if we don't need to be focused on Zoom Contact Center, doing some other offline activities within Dynamics. We can pull that integration back over and, do some customizations here. But let's go ahead and jump into the contact center here. So right now we logged in, we're not ready yet. Let's go ahead and make ourselves ready. Let's see if we have any calls sitting here in the queue. Okay, so here we do have a call. So let's go ahead and take this call here from Janet. I can see Janet's calling in from the customer support voice queue. So I do know what queue Janet's calling in about. And on the left, its screen popped in as soon as it started ringing. So we'll go ahead and answer the call here. And so here we are in the call. This was a standard simple inbound call. And on the right-hand side, your standard contact center features, muting, add call. You can do a conference call, pull in a supervisor or other agents in a different department if you need to within the call. We have the ability to do transfers. So here you can transfer to other, again, supervisors, agents, other people in the contact center, or even external phone numbers if you need to here, and then hold and resume. On the right-hand side, we do have call recording built into Zoom Contact Center, and this call started off with automatic call recording. So the agent doesn't need to do anything. That's configured by policy by the contact center admin. So that's kind of a quick overview here of the call. And we do have the ability here to do some other things, but for now, let's just end this one, and we'll show you what it looks like on that post-call screen where we can wrap up the call. So we'll click the end call button here, and now we're on to the post-call screen. So different CRMs have different types of objects. So Dynamics has contacts and leads. Those are generally going to be the people that are calling in, and we recognize the callers based on their caller ID. That's why we screen popped, and on the right, you can see that we've automatically linked that call to Janet as the contact. If we need to change it, we could. Sometimes maybe assistants call in for managers and things like that. So the agent has the ability to override some of those things, but we'll try to automatically link what we can. And then callers may call in about different things in Dynamics, right? One of the ones that's probably really common for some contact center groups are going to be Microsoft Dynamics cases. So we have the ability to link that to an opportunity and also here a case. And when we select that, we have the ability to link to a case that Janet already has open. So maybe Janet called in previously about this case, it's still open. So we can propose that the agent link it to this existing case, or the agent can then create a new case. So that there allows the agent to link calls to whatever they're talking about to make sure that when they go back in the future, they can have a good sense of what Janet called in about. Some other things that are going to be part of the call here on the post-call wrap-up screen are going to be dispositions. So here we have a customer configurable list of disposition codes. I have just two here as an example: general inquiry and login issues. So whatever Janet called in about, maybe she can't log into her customer portal, maybe she's just calling in about a general question. Again, customers would customize that. And then optional note field here at the bottom. We'll do that in another call, but agents can add in notes here to summarize what the agent talked to the caller about. And then at the end of it, when the agent's done, they're going to click complete engagement, and then they'll go ready. If there's any other calls waiting in the queue, they can then take those other calls. So let's go ahead and click on that button here. Then on the left side, we're going to automatically screen pop into the case. So I did link in the call there that Janet was calling in about that existing case. So here we can see that we've now associated this call log here that came in at 10:13 from Janet with this case, so that we know Janet called in about this case, because that's what the agent linked the call to. Really simple here to have this information here. We have the information on the caller, who they called, date, time, and also at the timeline there at the bottom, we would have notes if we had entered in any notes. So that's a real quick example of an inbound call here with the Dynamics integration. We also have the ability to do an outbound call. So you can see here, I'm on Janet. I can see Janet's phone number. And if I wanted to call Janet, it's as simple as just clicking on the telephone icon. That'll start an outbound call.
Well, something I just noticed is that it appears that this Zoom phone and contact center is actually embedded into this website without utilizing some sort of cross launch of another application.
Yeah, that's right. So Zoom Contact Center is fully embedded. So the only software that the agent needs to have on their computer is this web browser. And I'm using Chrome here, but any web browser, modern web browser, that's it, right? We're using WebRTC technology. The agent's call controls and ready state, as I showed on the right, is there, but also the actual audio stream is just being embedded right into the browser. So no need for other software here with this integration. Yeah, so while we're here, right, let's take a look at some other new features that we introduced with the Dynamics integration. So on the right in the Zoom Contact Center section, we do have the ability to manage what we call inbox, which are any voicemail messages left into any of the queues here. So as an agent, I have access to some of the voicemail boxes here, and I can see there was a caller that called in this morning before the call center opened, and this caller left a voicemail here. So I can click on this voicemail. I can see some information, some metadata. I can see they called in about the after hours mailbox. And I can even play back this voicemail message. So if I click on the play here, we're going to get full transcript, right? So maybe I know I don't even need to listen to the voicemail. I can quickly see Ellie called in. She wants somebody to call her back about her invoice, it looks like, and her phone number. I could play it back if I wanted to, or just look at the transcript there. So really nice to have the voicemail capability now built into our CRM integrations here with Dynamics integration. In addition to voicemails, depending on your policy, if the customer decides to allow agents to see this, agents have the ability to see both active and completed engagements. So those are engagements that are possibly even with other call center agents. So I could see any call coming into the call center that I'm part of. This call was by Alex. I can even go back up to 60 days in the past. So I can see calls from other agents. Looks like Alex was really busy for some of these calls, but we can also go through and find, phone numbers, some other callers, and Allie. Looks like, we had some calls that Allie took as well. So full ability for agents to have that visibility into the call center for their queues. What I just showed is the ability for callers to call in and identify their caller ID phone number. But sometimes we receive calls from maybe transfers from other contact centers. Sometimes customers have, BPO organizations that front end their contact centers. Maybe there's callers that call in from a main number that are shared. Sometimes what happens is a call comes in and there's like multiple records and Dynamics that have that phone number. So we don't actually know who the true caller is, because the phone number is not unique. So we have the ability in this integration to be able to allow the agent to seamlessly select who the actual caller is. So we can go ahead and show what that looks like here. Let me go ahead and place another call into the contact center from a number that's going to be on multiple records. Okay, so now we have a call coming in. This time we don't actually know who the caller is because the phone number the person's calling from is on two different Dynamics records. So we can see here on the left, instead of screen popping to the actual caller, we now have screen pop to a search results page. The caller could be either Bill or Peter. We'll have to ask and find out who it is. So it looks like now maybe this caller is Bill. So on the right, the agent can simply just select from who that is. So we have two Dynamics contacts, both of them with the same phone number, and we'll select Bill. And if we select Bill here, then we now get that screen pop to Bill's contact record. And now anything that we do here related to this call will be associated to Bill. So very easy for agents to be able to handle any scenarios where the phone number isn't unique enough to know who the actual caller is. Now we can take that one step further, and that is sometimes maybe the phone number isn't necessarily the real unique information that we really want to screen pop on. So far in this example, we've used that. We've screen popped previously to Janet. Now we screen pop to Bill. We also have the ability to screen pop based on something else, like a case number. So in order to do that, I'm going to go ahead and switch my screen share where we can look at the admin portal on the Zoom Contact Center side and see a little bit about how we would go ahead and add on some of those advanced capabilities. So let me end this call here and let's go ahead and change the screen share.
Sometimes, Justin, I have in the past called my company or the companies I'm having support with, and I have multiple cases open with one single company, right? And so I always like when I call in and they know exactly what I'm talking about by the case that I'm referring to, and there's probably some sort of way to sort it on some sort of custom identifier like a case number. I'm assuming we can do that too. Is that correct?
We can, yes. And so this Dynamics integration is the first integration that adds a new feature called the IVR-based screen pop, which is exactly what you're talking about, which is allowing the caller to enter in something into the IVR portion of the call, like a case number, to collect that and then be able to use that to display that information to the agent. So let's go ahead and pull this up here and we'll walk through how someone would go about configuring that. Okay, so Patrick, this is how simple it is to configure a contact center flow within Zoom Contact Center. So this is, admittedly a really simple flow, but it does two things. The caller dials in. The first thing it does, we use text to speech to thank the caller for calling. And we ask them if they're calling in about an existing case or a new case. And if they select option one here for an existing case, then we take them over to a second prompt where we ask them for their case number. Mm. Microsoft Dynamics has some unique case numbers. It's actually alphanumeric and multiple, there's 3 parts to the case, but the numeric part of the case is unique. So in this case, we'll just ask them for their case number. And then we can, when the call routes to an agent, then the agent will see that case displayed right on their screen. Now, the part that makes this work is that by collecting the case number from the caller, we then store that case number in what we call a global variable. So we essentially ask the caller, we collect some digits from the caller, and then we store those digits in a global variable that we call case number. And then in the configuration for the Zoom Contact Center Dynamics integration, we're going to configure the screen pop to be targeted based on the case number that we collect from within the IVR here. So this is the flow part, and then we'll go ahead and switch over and we'll show how we configure this specifically related to the screen pop for the integration. Okay, here we are on the integration page. We're just going to go ahead and build this integration from scratch. It's really simple. So we'll select Microsoft Dynamics 365. We'll click Next here. I've already authenticated in the past my Dynamics environment, so it's going to be pretty simple to get this configured. So we're going to enter in some information here to link our Zoom account to Dynamics. And this is all information that can be obtained from the Dynamics admin portal. I've already authenticated in the past, so it should just automatically connect me. And there at the bottom, you can see that it's been successfully connected. So this is something that the customer will go through at the beginning of their deployment. We have professional services that can help with this, but it's a pretty straightforward process. We'll be, of course, using the customer's Microsoft Dynamics 365 admin to help with this. But a lot of this information is actually going to come from those discussions with the contact center management team on exactly how do they want this integration to work. So we have some options at the top. You can see, do we want to screen pop during the call, or do we want to wait until the agent answers, right? I think a lot of people might prefer to know information about the call before the agent actually answers. And then we can select what dynamics we're using. And then sometimes we'll have a caller that dials in from a phone number that's nowhere to be found in Dynamics. And so do we want to create a new contact, account, or lead record? I'll leave it here as contact. And then we're getting into how do we identify and how do we screen pop to different objects and records within Dynamics. So the first part we'll configure is based on the caller ID number, right? So every call hopefully has a caller ID phone number. And we'll use the phone-based search to do that. So I'm going to go ahead and quickly configure this here. We do pull in all of the different objects and fields within Dynamics. So we have the ability here to find the telephone numbers that are part of the customer's Dynamics. If they have done any customization, we'll be able to find that within their environment. Okay, so what we've done here in the phone-based search is we want to search for both contact objects and lead objects. And specifically, we want to look at the telephone one field and the mobile phone field. So if a customer stores phone numbers and other objects, other entities, or other fields, they can customize this based on their Microsoft Dynamics 365 deployment. But we're here to talk about how do we actually screen pop to a case. And so that's going to be the IVR-based search there at the bottom. So we're going to add one record to that IVR-based search. And we're going to use that same case number variable that we showed in the flow configuration. And so on the left-hand side are all of the different Zoom contact center variables. We'll go ahead and select that case number. And we're going to map the case number to where we want to search in Microsoft Dynamics 365. So the case in Microsoft is actually called an incident record, and the case number is actually called a ticket number. So we're going to configure it like you see here. And so what that means is when the call rings in to the agent, we're going to look for that case number that we collected from the caller within the Zoom Contact Center flow, and then we're going to look for that in the ticket number field on the incident entity. And that's going to essentially then pop that case number directly for the agent. And finally, we have a few other configuration items here at the bottom, and I would think most customers are going to want to automatically log their calls in Dynamics and automatically save the call recording URL there as well. In this example, I'm not going to do the automatic case creation because we're going to collect that case number from the caller when they dial in. So we'll let the agent decide whether they need to create a new case or not. and we'll click save. So it's as simple as that to
Yep.
do this configuration. And again, a lot of this information is going to come from the customer's particular deployment of their Dynamics environment.
Well, that was pretty straightforward. I've seen a lot of these done, and those seem like a lot more streamlined than maybe some of our previous demos, where we actually had to code and code this flow inside of the call flow itself.
Yeah, so a lot of cloud-based solutions have APIs, which means you can write API requests and parse API. We don't have to do any of that here. It's much more straightforward, all web-based. So whatever important data we need to search for, just configured here right within the Zoom Contact Center admin user interface here. Okay, Patrick, let's make a third call now. And this time we're going to do the case number screen pop. So the caller this time is going to enter in the case number into the IVR, and we'll let everybody listen to the caller as they make that phone call.
Hi, thank you for calling customer support. If you are calling about an existing case, press 1.
So the caller will press 1 to enter their case number. And now they're entering the case number, which is going to be 1108. We go, we'll mute the call here to prevent any feedback in the recording. So now we can see the call has screen popped right to this case number. And again, I entered in case number 1108 from the Zoom Contact Center Flow IVR. We can see that case number there in the ID field here. And so this way the agent knows exactly that, hey, we have Peter. Most likely Peter is the person calling in because this case is opened up under Peter. And he's probably asking for some information on product 431. Looks like Peter's actually made a lot of phone calls about this case, so this must be something really important to Peter here. So really nice to have this capability where you can just screen pop right to the case. The agent knows exactly what the person is calling in about.
Justin, as always, I always learn a ton from you and my guests. I really want to appreciate all the time you've done, because I know those demos don't happen out of the box. You got to put a lot of work into those things. So I do want to thank you for your time and really appreciate you teaching us something today.
Yeah, Patrick, thank you very much. Happy to present this and let everyone know about our capabilities with Zoom Contact Center and Dynamics 365. Thank you.
Have a great day. And if you enjoy these videos, follow me on LinkedIn, or better yet, subscribe to my YouTube channel. I do work for Zoom as a distinguished architect. I'm not a figurehead or a spokesman for Zoom. I just like to talk about cool technology. A lot of times that has to deal with Zoom. Have a great day.